week ago at Fox Raceway, Team Honda riders Chase Sexton and Ken Roczen dominated the field, going 1-2 at the opening round of Pro Motocross. Former champions Eli Tomac and Ryan Dungey need to get on the podium to climb back in the title fight for round 2. The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross races into one of its most historic venues. Live Motocross from Hangtown is next.
We have moved from Southern to Northern California now for round 2 of the 2022 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing. It's the Carson City Motorsports Hangtown Classic. Hello, everyone, and welcome to your 450 motocross coverage here on MAV TV. Jason Weigandt and the 6-time AMA National Motocross Champion, the Golden Boy, Brock Glover. Hangtown is a track that's been around for a long, long time. How do you see it shaping up today?
Well, this is as good as I've ever seen this track prep. Mother Nature's completely cooperating. We've got overcast skies. Dirt looks magnificent. It's as loamy as I've ever seen this track, and the racing looks going to be fantastic.
Now, last week, Honda dominated. Chase Sexton, Ken Roczen go 1-2. Brock, who do you think can challenge the Red Boys today?
Well, we certainly need to see Eli Tomac kind of step up the pace a little bit more. He did look a lot better. I know they made some bike adjustments to his motorcycle, and it looks much better. And then, of course, you know, you have the other riders, too. Jason Anderson, who did not have the best ride. Rode very well last week, but he did not really have the best results. And he already qualified on top of the box today, so we're going to see him out there. And then, of course, Ryan Dungey and Antonio Caroli, a 9-time world champion, have picked up their pace, and I think both of them are going to ride themselves into shape. So we have a bunch of great racing ahead of us.
So that's a lot of talent who are hoping to avoid what we saw last weekend, which was complete dominance by Honda. All 4 motos in both classes. They could not have scripted it better. Jet Lawrence wins the first moto of 2022 and points right at that #1 plate. Jet Lawrence takes the victory with the 1-1 sweep.
I'm pumped for Honda to go 1-2. We're almost like we're having a little competition with the 450 guys. So good luck to Chase and Kenny. Hopefully they can do the same as first Moto 1.
What a way to start the season. A 1-1 sweep in round 1 for Chase Sexton. And Honda has done it. They've gone 1-2 in all 4 motos over both classes today.
With Hunter and Jet going 1-2, you know, the factory Honda HRC Racing has done such a good job.
Kenny and I were on, I feel like, another level, and it was awesome. The Honda team has put a lot of hard work in this offseason and this whole year.
It was all Honda all the time, a 1-2 sweep in both classes, and led in the 450 class by Chase Sexton.
It's coming to me.
So Chase Sexton last week, as we know, was electric, right? The question becomes, was it just Fox Raceway that he's so great at, or has he turned the corner in the season? Now, if you look at the short 450 career that he's gone through, his average finish is 5.1. If you just look at Fox Raceway, though, it drops down to 2.3 with 2 of his 3 overall wins coming at Fox Raceway. The difference between 5.1 and 2.3 is where championships are won or lost. We're going to see today if Chase Sexton's really ready to take that next step.
Oh, it is a big test. We have seen round 1 often not be an indicator of how it has gone. Last year, Dylan Ferrandis won round 1 and went on to win the title. Chase Sexton on the move early in 22. We'll see if he can replicate the success of round 1. And when you come to the races, you get to meet the stars. There's Ryan Dungey posing with a couple of young fans here in the pits. Hangtown. American service members stationed on U.S. Navy ships at sea and in more than 170 countries overseas are watching today's broadcast live on the American Forces Network. We salute your service. Well, it's so fun to have a revolving cast here in the announcer's booth throughout our 50th anniversary celebration. And everything about motocross legend Brock Glover says California dirt bike god, right down to the nickname, the Golden Boy, who dominated motocross in the 80s and took the fledgling sport in America to yet another level because Americans would soon become the standard by which all riders around the world were measured. Brock Glover was so dominant during his time on the bike that he recorded 6 AMA National Motocross Championships, a record that stood for 20 years. The Golden Boy was motocross in the late 1970s and early 80s. Riding for factory Yamaha, he captured the 125 National Championship from 1977 through 79 and 500cc crowns in 81, 83, and 85. And his exploits on the track and his generosity off of it inspired the next great wave of American champions, like fellow Southern Californian Ricky Johnson. Brock was inducted into the Motorcycle Hall of Fame in 2000, and he can still be found at the track, working for Dunlop, where he works tirelessly to help mold the next generation of American motocross legends. That's our MX versus ATV Legends bio. Awesome to have you in the booth to get your knowledge. And the best part about working with you is you're in these trenches with Dunlop every weekend. So you're still living the sport every day. You've never given it up.
We were talking about that earlier. You asked how long I'd been at Dunlop, and I started to use both my toes and my hands, and I count them up, and I ran out of digits, and I ended up, it's my 21st season with Dunlop, and it's amazing because it's been longer than I ever raced.
All right, that's a lifetime. Well done, sir. Let's give an update on this racetrack, courtesy of the MX versus ATV Legends track map, and this is what Hangtown's all about, Brock.
It is. I mean, the Prairie City layout is just beautiful. Lots of room for spectators, good elevation changes, and easy in and out. It's just the perfect facility for motocross.
Yeah, and it looks even better than ever today. The weather couldn't have been better, and that only helps track prep that much more. There are so many ups and downs, the way this place is laid out in the valley. It also leads some great spectator viewing as well.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 big hillsides here that you can position yourself to see the entire track. It's a great facility.
KTM keys to the Moto, Brock. What are the riders going to focus on here?
A little redundant. Get a good start. I mean, we've seen the people who are getting the good starts are finishing up front. 450s, you got to have somebody non-Honda needs to be up front. I mean, obviously Eli Tomac, Jason Anderson have to step up, and they need to step up.
Okay, that will be key because they went 1-2 in both of the motos last week. Tomac and the team, they've done a lot of work on the bike. They did. They're going to be better. Anderson already was fast last week. He just went down early in the second moto. If he erases that, you got to watch for the Kawasaki man, who was our fast qualifier today. Fly Racing 30-second card is up. Mechanics move away from the line. We are ready to go racing. 30 minutes and 2 laps. I can tell you're pumped on this.
I am. I'm excited.
What's going to happen? 450 Moto 1 here from Hangtown. Much better jump from Anderson this time in the 21. He's going to lead them on the inside. Can he lead them to the hole shot stripe? No, Sexton's able to nip him and get that motorsport.com hole shot.
It looked like Anderson had it all the way, but I don't know if he just didn't do the first corner correctly, but Sexton held it on around the outside and came out first.
This is what we wanted to see. Anderson's speed matched up with the Hondas. Kent Roxon's quickly up to third. He is so good in the early laps.
And then Aaron Plessinger's in fourth right now. Looks like is that Eli Tomac? I couldn't quite tell there. It looks like it might be Tomac.
Yes, it is Tomac on the Yamaha, and then another KTM. That's Ryan Dungey on the 5. Anderson is hands full with Roxon.
Us fans of motocross just got what we wanted right now.
Yeah.
The players are up front and
this
all
is great.
clean. Yep.
Roxon, a couple of shots at Anderson here in the first lap, not able to get him, and that's going to allow Sexton to open up about 5 bike lanes.
Yeah, this is one of those gnarly downhill sections with the ruts, and honestly, the track has gotten more difficult, rougher than I expected in just one of our 4 30-minute motos. I have no idea what this is going to look like at the end of the day.
How much are the teams then chasing and guessing compared to what we saw in qualifying?
They could be having to make some adjustments on it. We talked earlier, we heard Eli Tomac, suspension guy Ricky Gilmore, talk about getting his bike higher, less peg dragging in these deep ruts, getting the balance of the motorcycle set up. So early on in the race, that's still already first moto, that's going to be important.
Sexton and Anderson, completely different spots on the racetrack. Way outside for Sexton, way inside for Anderson. And that right-hander, Roxon was all over Anderson. He's lost a little bit of ground. Plessinger still right there in fourth. Love the way this is shaping up.
This is fantastic, and I'll tell you, just watching Chase Sexton's like watching an instructional video of all the right things to do. I was watching slow motion earlier on the monitor, and I was just seeing his feet positioned on the bike, his knees, everywhere he grips the bikes on his balls of his feet. Just fantastic, and shoulders are nice and parallel with the handlebars.
Yeah, a lot of talk about the style, and then that led to speed. The question is, does he get all the other pieces together? There have been some crashes that have prevented him from getting the results that speed should bring him to. And Anderson's going to try to apply some pressure here. maybe get another one out of him.
Yeah, Sexton leads our first lap. But when you talk about at the end of the race having a few crashes and things, a lot of times, honestly, that isn't, you get the basics right in your style, your techniques, you get all the fundamentals correct, and then you're able to add speed and do it easily. Sexton's been able to do that. When you have those little late race crashes and things like that, a lot of times that's more above, that's between the ears.
Okay.
It's a mental thing. And Chase, and I think that Chase is becoming now comfortable at that level.
So Anderson is following Sexton, and they have put Roczen in the distance here. Roczen is usually so quick early in the race, and he was on about the first half of a lap, but they were able to pull away right now. You see Roczen in the distance, and then it is Plessinger under fire from Tomac. So it has strung out quite quickly here on this first lap. You see Anderson hustling down this hill. We got a couple of crashes early in the Moto here. What happened here? Oh,
that's Josh Gilbert, our friend we were talking about from the UK. That was a horrendous crash.
Yep.
He was very good today and good yesterday. And we have another tip over here from one of their KTM riders. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's
I think that's Bloss.
Oh, Benny Bloss, you're right.
And I just heard a roar out of the crowd here, trying to figure out what happened at Hangtown. Sexton, Anderson, Roczen. And, all right, I want to ask, how much is it a chess match here, these early laps, as far as, okay, I just had to figure out the lines? Because Sexton already put 2 seconds on the field. Could that be just down to line choice alone? Can Anderson maybe figure this out?
I think he can. I mean, Jason is a hard charger, as we've all seen even this year in Supercross. I mean, he can put it down when he needs to. But we talked about, if you said who are your fastest two riders, who are your picks? You're gonna pick the 23 and the 21. And Jason Anderson showed it in qualifying today. So these two right here are kind of our speedsters, and if they can keep it together for the whole race, these probably gonna be our top two people on the finishing line.
All right, Roczen might have something to say about that. In third, Plessinger still holding off Tomac. Then it's Dungey, Craig. Oh, that's what it was. Plessinger went down, and we've got it now. You heard that roar from the crowd. Watch the number 7. That's awkward.
Yeah, just back end broke through a loose berm. You can see how loose that berm is right there at the top, and the back end just broke through. And you know, when you're used to having that good clay hardcore rut that you can really slam into, and it just becomes loose pebbly dirt, and it just broke away, and his rear end came around.
Okay, so that'll change things. Tomac moves up to 4th, Dungey up to 5th. And it's Craig. Shout out to Joey Savacci in 7th, first race of the year. He missed the opener, coming back from ACL surgery.
Yep, walking through the lobby of my hotel this morning, and I saw Joey there, and I was like, hey, good to have you back. And he said, I'm glad to be back. So he looked great, qualified well, and he's already well in the top 10.
And back on his old team, Monster Energy Kawasaki. He is filling in for the injured Adam Cianciarulo. Here is a battle right now, just like we had last week. Ryan Dungey against Christian Craig. Craig was on the podium last week, first motocross podium of his career, trying to ride that momentum today.
Another rider with this, epic style, just perfected riding a motorcycle from a young age and just did it the right way. And then here's Ryan Dungey, number 5 in the number 5 spot again. So he seems to be comfortable right there, and if he can get his speed and get his conditioning, maybe 2 or 3 rounds into this thing, we're going to see him right up front.
You probably know the story, Ryan Dungey. 3-time 450 national motocross champion, retired in 2017 and has come out of retirement and has not lost much from where he was, which in a high-end athletic sport like this, 5 years to come back like this?
It's truly amazing what he's done, and talk about that, to be off the bike for 5 years and to step back. Some people are saying, well, the current guys haven't stepped up, but the truth of the matter is Ryan Dungey, if you look at him, he's fit. He never got out of shape. He didn't put on that freshman 10 or sophomore 20. He never put on those extra weights at the first few years of his retirement. He looked fit as ever.
Send it down to Jason Thomas. Celebrating history here. We got another one of the legends, JT.
So as we continue to celebrate 50 years of American Pro Motocross, I am here with the 1980 500 champ and also a hero of Team USA for Motocross of Nations, Chuck Sun. Chuck, tell us about your day. We're excited to have all of you here. It's just like a reunion of legends here today.
Well, it's great to hear all the stories, and it's being from Washougal, we always wanted to come down to Hangtown and ride here. So it's great to be back here, and to see Corelli and Dungey back in action is a whole lot of fun. And in particular, I like to see Anderson push Sexton. This track really rewards flow, and those two riders have a lot of flow going right now. It's like stair steps on the downhill. The track is really gnarly with the serpentine ruts, but it's awesome to be here.
All right, good to have Chuck Sun. Yep, 1980 500 national champ. Part of the first ever American team to win Motocross of Nations. Probably got some Chuck Sun stories.
Oh, I do have a few. He mentioned Washougal, the old Chuck Sun jump. Yeah, it was. I could have reached over and touched him on the shoulder when that whole thing was happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was making a pass on him when it happened, and it was interesting in the 1981 500 championship. But, you know, Chase Sexton right here pulling away a little bit. Earlier on, right here in this exact corner, we saw the riders taking the outside line. They put some water down on the inside. They didn't like it early on, and now it looks like they're back on that inside shortest distance, the preferred line, I'd call it. But, yeah, Chase Sexton pulling away a little bit. He's got a 6-second lead almost on Jason Anderson here, which is honestly a big surprise to, I think, me, and I think probably you too.
Yeah, after qualifying and how fast Anderson was last week, thought it might have been even up between him and Sexton, but Sexton has everyone covered, not just Anderson, but the entire field. Now this is what we call a yo-yo battle between Anderson and Roczen. It stretches out, it gets close. It stretches out, it gets close. About a half a lap ago, Roczen was right there in the rear wheel.
He was, and then I'm surprised. I actually was thinking Eli Tomac would about to jump on the back fender of Ken Roczen and kind of come up to this battle, but hasn't quite been able to close that gap. He needs to work a little harder and get Ken Roczen closer.
And then Dungey not too far, about 1.8. You see there off of Tomac. Then it's Craig, Savacci, Barsha. Tony Caroli is 9th, and Marchbanks, Club MX Yamaha rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, two different styles on that wall jump there. You know, Anderson, imagine that, airing it out, flying, jersey flapping, untucked, and then Ken Roczen taking the more conservative approach, putting it back on the ground, not taking as much shock. I mean, he's got some old injuries that he doesn't want to be flat landing on his arm and other parts of his body.
All right, so different ways to do it. Nice little line on the inside there by Roczen. And we now see Christian Craig has made the move on Ryan Dungey for 5th. I'll show you this in a moment. Here it is. He's going to get inside here. Simple as that, Rob Brock.
Yeah, it was just very smooth. You could see, obviously, on the brakes very, very hard as Christian's rear wheel came up. It actually, when it got in the air, it locked the brake temporarily, and he dropped right into the rut just perfectly and just executed that pass with high skill level, that's for sure.
Okay, so that'll push Dungey back to 6th. Caroli has moved up to 7th. As we continue to watch this battle, Anderson versus Roczen for 2nd and 3rd. Chase Sexton, heck, it was an amazing performance last week, but if anything, he's even better this time around. Roczen kept him honest. It was a lot closer throughout the motos a week ago.
It was. I actually, again, we talked about it being a little bit surprised that he was able to put almost 6 seconds on Jason Anderson such early part of the race like this. It's we're barely 10 minutes into it, and he's got a 6-second lead. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Impressive. And we'll show you how he got there first with the motosport.com pole shot replay. It looked like it was all Anderson early here, Brock.
It did. Anderson had a great jump, but right here in the first corner, you see Chase goes around the outside, holds it on a little longer, comes out at the motorsport hole shot line just ahead. But see right here, Anderson's there, and you see Chase just holds it on in just enough room.
Good job by Anderson to not come into him and make that situation worse. If they had tangled, that would have been a problem. Anderson's probably like, look, man, I was down early last week.
And you know what? Again, I mentioned it earlier, props to the track design and crew. They did pull that corner in. It looks a lot better than it did previous years.
Yep, and pretty clean again, the field getting through that first turn. We had seen some first turn crashes for a while, but so far so good here in 2022. And that's the story for this man as well. Right out of Illinois, so much talk when you look at the style and how fast he can go in qualifying and even during the races. Some people said it was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when he was going to put it all together. We could be looking at when right now. He starts the year 3-0.
When is now for certain. I mean, he is just looks so good right now. Look at just how smooth he is on the bike. Just gripping the tank and gripping the seat with his knees, nice and narrow. On the balls of his feet, just looks so in balance. Standing on the pegs like there where he needs to. And just, boy, this is he's giving it, just giving a show right here on the ride. This is fantastic.
Send it down to Jason Thomas. He has Chase Sexton's mechanic.
Brandon Zimmerman, another Saturday, another big lead. This is kind of turning into a habit. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing pretty well right now, but it's early in the season. We're just hoping to keep the momentum rolling, you know?
So any big changes? Obviously, last weekend seemed like it just went perfectly to plan. Any big changes, or you're trying to keep the ball rolling?
No, I mean, he's pretty happy with the bike right now, so we're just keeping everything the same, and yeah, everything's been working pretty well for us.
Big Red Machine's on a roll down here, Weege.
No doubt about it, JT. 1-1, you don't change the bike much. No, I did hear they tweaked Roxon's bike a little bit, but yeah, no reason to do anything to that 23 except slap the red number plate backgrounds on it now that he's the points leader.
Yep, nice little line selection there, just kind of pivoting outside, avoiding the deepest rut as he launched off that last jump, and just riding so well. I mean, again, I talk about the shoulders being parallel to the handlebars. The head is over the center of the crossbar most of the time. You don't really want to cock your shoulders in ruts and turns. It makes the bike try to climb out, moves your head outward. The head weighs 12, 13 pounds with a helmet even more. So he's just doing everything technically right now. Just watch him. If you're riding, emulate this guy's style.
That's absolutely it. Between having the Lawrence brothers, Roxon, and Sexton on the bikes, Honda is not starved for style. They've got 4 of the best, most perfect riding styles out there.
They really do. It's this is the kind of the big red machine of the 80s, no question about it. These guys are looking really good.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, yeah, because, you know, we had Rick Johnson and Jeremy McGrath with us last week, and that was the question. Is this kind of the dawn of something? Is it just a round 1? Or is it something? Are things tilting in Honda's direction? They've definitely kept it going at round 2 at least. Here's your Thor battle box as you watch Sexton continue with the poetry in motion. Your other battle here.
It looks like it's Craig and Dungey to me, and it's you can see, just checking it out, Ryan Dungey still having some good rides. He's keeping Christian Craig honest. I mean, you think last week Christian Craig was sitting 3rd place on the podium, and Ryan Dungey's just a second or 2 behind Christian there. So it's I'm amazed at Ryan Dungey. How's that?
There's no doubt. But I got to give credit to Craig. Podium last week, that was his home race. I think a lot of people wondering, could he replicate it? Kind of the same things we're saying about Sexton, and he's definitely riding well today. Anderson looking pretty sweet, feeling pretty sweet, as they would say in Team Fried land down that hill. And we've got his mechanic with Jason Thomas.
Jason Montoya with Jason Anderson out front. Last week, a little rough. This is a little bit more what we were talking about.
Yeah, definitely got off to a better start on this one, and yeah, he seems to be finding some lines right now and kind of trying to close on that gap on Chase.
I think there's more in the tank. Obviously, Chase got out to a rocket start and really, tried to check out the early laps. You think Jason's kind of waiting in the wings here, or is there a little bit of strategy?
Yeah, he's confident in his fitness right now, so, I mean, he's going to go the distance. I think he's going to come alive about halfway through, so hopefully we start picking it up here in the next couple laps.
And I'll tell you what, Anderson was 0.6 of a second quicker than Sexton the last time around. And just watching him on that downhill, he leaped probably 10 braking bumps. You can tell he's in that flow right now. This might not be over, Brock.
It might not. He actually got down into the 4-second gap there. Slipped back now to 5.3, but it's Jason can do that. He can just throw those flyers in there, those little heater laps, and close the gap. So I wonder if Chase is marking him. He probably is. I'm sure he's getting his pit signals, but this is motocross. We've all seen it happen all the way down to the final corner.
Oh, yeah. And we are only halfway through the moto, 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. You can save 15% or more on your motorcycle insurance by calling Geico. Seems like a lot has happened in this race, but yeah, we're only at the halfway mark, and Anderson's chopped it back under 5 seconds.
Yep, took about a second out of it that lap. So, boy, it's this is going to be interesting. No question about it. It's impressive. Both of them are riding really, really well. All the top guys are, and it's just fun to watch.
All right, we'll mark them as they head across, and then they'll be uphill in a moment. And Anderson has pulled away a bit now from Roxon, so he's all by himself. Full focus on the leader. 23 of Chase Sexton up ahead. It's one of the downhills coming up where he was so fast last time around.
Yeah, I like watching Jason Anderson ride. It just makes it look fun. And to me, honestly, I grew up surfing. I practiced in the morning. I would surf in the afternoon almost as a therapy and training. And I always felt like the surfing in the seawater, it made me feel not sore the next day, and I recovered quickly. But when I watch Jason Anderson, I think to me, he's kind of like a guy shredding and surfing when he's riding. And to me, I've always kind of just chuckled. I think it's the first person I've ever told that, but I always think he's the guy shredding on a surfboard.
Yeah, shredding. He uses all kinds of terms like that. Yep. Shredding, ripping, you name it. All right, so this is a really cool event when an old racetrack comes back online, and that's what happened. West Virginia Motor Speedway is going to be back, so check it out June 4th, 5th. Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. It is the historic 100, and we'll have it from Mineral Wells, West Virginia, right here on MAV TV. That is June 4th and 5th. Jason Anderson, we're going to be watching the clock now. to see if he can continue to close. Nope, one side of the track's good for him. One side of the track is good for Sexton. Sexton got the time back.
Isn't that interesting how that happens? I mean, Jason seems to be faster on the other side of the track. He closes it back within 4.5, and then here he is. He loses a half a second on this side to Chase Sexton. So I don't know. Maybe they'll go back and look at some video, or just figure out what it is that he's losing time to. Because if he can put it together, then he can close the gap.
It's still a tall order to say you're going to reel in 5 seconds on this guy, and just as slow and behold, they get to the other side of the track. Anderson takes it down to 4.1. There's still time for Anderson to make a move, but the way Sexton's riding, it's going to be a tall order. We'll be in for the stretch run here at Hangtown. Chase Sexton once again leading the way. All right, we watch the clock again. 4.1 seconds a gap. It's about as close as Anderson has been besides the early laps of the race.
Yeah, I'm sure he's getting the pit board right now. We saw Brandon Zimmerman earlier on, his Chase's mechanic there, and of all somebody's probably popped a few gray hairs in their days, seeing Supercrosses. I think it was in Minneapolis when he looked like he was well on his way to winning and just a lap or two to go, and to lose something like that. And so at this point, he doesn't want to count his chickens before they've hatched. But Chase looks really, really good right here, and he's just giving him his numbers, going, hey, look, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, and just keep doing what you're doing.
On the flip side, I've got to imagine Anderson is thinking, if I can just keep applying a little pressure, maybe that ups my odds a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great analogy there on that, because if I push the pressure, Chase, you can't deny the fact that he's had a couple of cases where he's I don't call it folding, but just maybe a lapse of concentration or whatever it may be. But while leading, when you fall down and lose the race, you gotta call it out.
Yeah, the other guys take notes on that. It was Anderson who was actually the benefactor or beneficiary when that happened. So this will be an interesting final 10 minutes. Anderson is motivated for sure. Doesn't want to let him get the 3 straight Moto wins to begin the year.
I just love watching it coming down right there. We had a great camera shot. Chase just downshifted midair there, and it's just, to me, it's like, wait, why are you downshifting? But the 4-stroke just rides a little different than the old 2-strokes. He came out at a higher gear and just was able to torque it down there, and then when he hit the jump, he wanted to get ready for the next corner, so he downshifted midair, and then he was ready to go.
This is great stuff. Earlier today, we had the GoPro on Justin Barsha's Chorley Designs Red Bull gas. This is from practice. Any idea what this track's all about? Even getting the leg in the shot there.
I'll tell you one thing, for the older people in the audience out there, this would be called an e-ticket at Disneyland, riding with Justin Barsha for one lap.
You can hear some rev limiter. That's what he does, man. He pushes the bike to the max. Barsha, who is in the 10th place spot right now. Lucas Oil Pro Motocross here at MAV TV. Jason Anderson is on a charge. He got it down to 4 seconds, and then just like that, he's got it down to 1.5 seconds. 9 minutes to go. That's plenty of time.
This is a change that I wasn't expecting totally. I mean, I thought Jason Anderson would be in the hunt for the win, and I actually kind of secretly in my mind picked him to win. But this is surprising that he's closed it down this much right now, and I think he's really pushing.
Okay. We might have a battle all the way down to the end, but now it looks like it's stretched back out. It is so strange. When they hit different portions of the racetrack, one will favor the 21, the other the 23. And I'm really curious. They're one turn away from getting to the finish line, and I bet you it's going to be more than a second and a half now.
Yeah, we haven't seen 1.5 seconds since about the second lap of the race right now.
Yeah.
So it's Anderson has definitely closed it, and we'll see what happens here. It's this is not what you want to see if you're Chase Sexton on the chalkboard as you just passed the mechanics area there.
I think he's stretching it back out. So here we are across the finish. Let's see what the gap is. Yep.
Here we go.
So every time we see them, one side of the track, the other side of the track. It's unbelievable.
These guys, I think it's about a Duncan yo-yo here or something. This is interesting. It really is yo-yo, and I'm sure the lap riders are coming into play in some of the corners, but I haven't seen a whole bunch of that happening, so it's surprising. And again, we talk about how this track is changing every lap. Maybe Anderson finds a better corner, then Sexton realizes, oh yeah, this corner is getting bad, I got to switch lines or whatever it may be. But again, the second motos here, I'm super excited about the second motos because this track's going to be tough.
We need to be excited about this first moto because this battle is not over. Anderson's got him in sight now.
I'm excited about every race.
Okay.
I can't believe what a total fan of the sport, I still am after all these years.
And now you can hear the crowd start to pick up the volume as well, because they're where a battle is coming. Now we're watching the Thor battle box. I think there was a lap rider who is down, so we get to watch two things at once. It is Roczen, that is Tomac from 4th. So we haven't seen much of Eli Tomac in this moto. It's an okay ride. Did get 4th in the second moto last week, so kind of matching that. And his teammate Christian Craig.
Yeah, I mean, Eli Tomac made his way up there, and he's got 2 Yamahas in 4th and 5th right now. But this is Eli. This is a nice little charge from him right here, trying to catch up to Ken Roczen.
Yeah, that would be interesting if he could get there, though. About 4 seconds between them. Then it would be Craig. Then Dungey Caroli. Marchbanks 8th. Plessinger, Barsha round out the top 10. This is a little bit earlier in the race. Here's Roczen.
Oh, yeah, okay, off camber right there. Lapped rider turns over his shoulder. An awkward off camber section there. It was kind of an odd place to check over your shoulder. And then he makes a mistake and crashes. I mean, he could have waited another second there and had a little more easier section of the track to go on. But he did. He picked a really tricky section to look over his shoulder. And, of course, it caused him to crash and caught Ken Roczen behind him.
Oh, Roczen got pretty lucky that it wasn't over right there. So Roczen is still in 3rd. And now we have the leaders in the same shot. You see the green bike. You see the red bike. This is going to be good.
And, you know, Chase, it's not like Chase did anything bad by any means. They both just went, you know, they're doing 210s, 209s. Anderson did a 209 that last lap, but he's had a couple of 209s, and that was Anderson's fastest lap of the race, a 209.5. So just like we saw Michael Moseman do in the first moto, he just throws a heater in there with 5 minutes left. That's not easy to do.
25 minutes into this, Anderson has put in his best lap. So the answer is not Sexton slowing, it's Anderson speeding up.
He does that, and it's not easy to do. I mean, I remember the old, you know, Ricky Carmichael used to do that, where he tried to finish on his fastest lap of a 20-lap Supercross practice session or whatever it may be, when I'd see him do that. And it's clearly Anderson is training that way too, and he just sees Chase Sexton there, and it's just, I think his emotions are, he's pushing that much harder. He's going for it.
They are long gone. Roczen 21 seconds off the lead. It is down to 2 for the first moto win in Hangtown. And round 3 of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross next Saturday, headed to the Rocky Mountains. It's all on the line at the Thunder Valley National in Colorado. Catch it live next Saturday. It'll be 5 o'clock Eastern on MAV TV.
Another one of my favorite races. I think they're all my favorite races.
You are excited about every race.
I am. I love Thunder Valley. I think that's a great race. That I remember when we first moved to that facility in 1984, I think it was. And it was, we actually raced across the street slightly in 83, and then 84 was the officially at that place. But, you know, it was just love racing in Colorado, and all the riders like it too. The elevation's a challenge, but it's a fun race.
Who will have the momentum when we go there? Will it be Sexton or will it be Anderson? This is Moto 1 here in Hangtown, Northern California. Dealing with lap traffic now is the leader, Chase Sexton.
Yep, he's able to work his way and negotiate around, but it's still, you just lose hundreds of seconds here and there by having to just guess what that lap rider's doing. You're not able to focus cleanly ahead. You sometimes don't always have the vision that you want on the line, the choice you're taking.
Anderson is right there, bro.
Oh, this is just right here. Finish line right here, coming across. Boy, oh boy, I think we still have 4 laps now, it looks like, with the time left and how the lap times are. So Anderson is just on it.
And more lap traffic for Sexton to deal with. We're almost to the point where it is wheel to wheel.
How cool is this to see the track again? We talk about the prep of the track, and Anderson just
there's Anderson
pinning it.
Oh, lap rider went down. Anderson's on the inside. He's looking to make a move, Brock.
Oh my gosh, inside.
Can he squeeze
yes,
it?
He's got
the lead.
He's got the control of the corner there. Good pass by Jason Anderson. Those 2 corners, we talked about it earlier, where you have to set up a couple of corners ahead. Anderson started that pass literally at the finish line corner. A little inside, he saw the roost coming off his bike, then the right-hander, he was pinned around that, and then next thing happened on the inside, he went full throttle around the very inside, shorter distance, came up the inside and was able to own the corner coming down that next section. It took about 3 corners to execute.
Unbelievable. And when he was there, and then he stood Sexton up to make sure he could counter. And what was a 5.5 second lead has turned into second place for Sexton. And now some mistakes from the 23. He's come unraveled at the same time. The 21 has caught fire.
Yeah, this is back to my surf analogy. This is a shred session.
Okay.
He's just ripping it. You can just see it. It's just, look at that.
So much lap traffic getting around Benny Bloss here.
Who went down earlier,
yep.
And he's see what's happening. I mean, Anderson, they both had to, you know what, Chase and Jason have both had to negotiate their way through a bunch of lapped riders. But you can see right here on our replay where the lapper gets right in the middle of that. Didn't help Chase too much there, but boy, they did touch it, looked like to me, huh?
Okay, maybe, yeah, a little bit of contact as he exited the corner. That might have helped Anderson here.
Yep.
Set up the pass from that moment on.
Well, it certainly made Chase, double guess what he was doing with that lapped rider, and he did. Anytime you come in contact with another rider, especially a lapped rider, it would have affected a little bit. I'm not sure would have held the pass back, but it was, had some effect.
Unreal charge from Jason Anderson, who has 3 moto wins to his career in the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, but has never won an overall. So this is stage 1. Get another of those moto wins, and then maybe today's the day he gets the overall for the first time. It's one of the wildest stats you'll find in this sport. Anderson is a Supercross champ. He's been very good outdoors for a long time. Has never won one of these races at the end of the day.
Didn't he win 7 this year, Supercrosses?
Yes.
He won 7 Supercrosses this year, and he's never won an outdoor national. That makes, Jeremy McGrath was a little lopsided in his career, but the year he did really focus on outdoors, he did win the championship, and he had the talent. He just was so phenomenal in Supercross. But Jason, to me, I think he's a fairly balanced rider. His skills indoors and out, again, I talk about the Motocross of Nations in Maggiore, Italy, when he just showed up on Team America and shows up on Husqvarna, grabs the lead right away early in the moto, and he just dominated. And I think the Italian crowd and the European crowd was like, we know who Anderson is, but was he really this good?
This good, yeah.
And he was fantastic. And unfortunately, at crossing the finish line, a lapped rider jumped on top of him, and that was the end of his day.
Yeah, that was a rough one. That could have been a shiny moment. But the point is that he has had the speed to win motocross races before. How about Sexton? He's trying to weather the storm and hang in there.
Yeah, Sexton's not going to give up. Trust me, I know him better than that. He's going to continue on. He's had a lot of good practice and training to go the distance. He's not just fading from conditioning. But Jason Anderson just picked up the pace, found a couple of better lines, and that's why he dropped his lap time. You don't lay your fastest lap down, at 5 minutes to go in the moto. And speaking of 5 minutes to go in the moto, we're right now just officially running out of the 30-minute mark. And so now as soon as we come to pass the finish line here, we're going to see the 2-lap board.
Battle for third is on. Eli Tomac's journey is not over. He has been inching up on Ken Roczen. So Roczen lost a little bit of time when a lap rider crashed around him. So we're going to have a classic Roczen-Tomac duel down the stretch, 3rd and 4th.
Well, he's going to have to lay it down fast because he's only got 2 laps to gain that gap. Right now, it's just under 3 seconds, and Eli's certainly capable of it. Only takes one little mistake by Roczen. He could be all over him here. And we'll see what happens here. Totally different lines. Ken going for the smooth, non-rutted line. Eli going for the shortest distance, even if he has to battle into that rut.
Oh, Roczen's so smooth in that corner right there.
He's certainly searching some outside lines that are not rutted. Interesting choice. It's a long ways around when you take the outside, but Eli's as good as any rider for the inside rut. And
Sexton has caught Anderson again.
Yep.
This is going to be great.
Well, I feel good about saying he's not going to give up easy, because I think that is the case right here. Anderson just did a couple of heaters there, and he closed it in on a caught Chase maybe off guard, and maybe Chase was able to see what maybe a different line that Anderson had, or somewhere that he was gaining on him, and at this point right now, could have easily adopted those same lines and able to close it back in.
It's the battle of wills, the early season momentum. Who's going to grab it? Sexton certainly had it coming in. Anderson wasn't a factor last week, never got to battle him because of the bad starts. The 21 is trying to show that he can get it done. Oh, they are sending it now with a lap and a half to go.
Hey, there's no rules. Can I stand up in here and watch this? I guess it's
we're getting pumped. I'm down, absolutely. This is exciting.
Watching. We're supposed to sit down in our chair and watch this. I don't know. I got to stand up here.
No, I'm fine. This is, you pay for the whole seat. You're only going to use the edge of it or none. And I guarantee the fans here at Hangtown feel the same way. White flag's about to come out, and we've got 2 riders duking it out for the lead.
This is fantastic racing. I just love it right here.
So this is it.
Yep.
There are so many lines out here. I feel like if Sexton could get there, he could make this pass.
He very well could with the old fly 150 there, the big jump here. This is the new section, the big step up. I call it the elevator. I don't know what to call it. What do you call that jump there?
You might have just coined it,
Yeah,
sir.
the elevator shot, sky shot. But look how fast it's real traditional. I love the old oak tree up there. That's Hangtown in a nutshell. coming down here. This is where they had the old half pipe way back when. This track has so much tradition.
And the crowd coming to life. Going to be white flag now.
Into the wall jump right past the mechanics area. Then both those mechanics are just, each one of them wants their rider to win so bad. They are definitely vested in these riders.
There it is, white flag, 1 lap to go. Anderson versus Sexton. Saw a lot of duels between them in Supercross. We're bringing it here to the outdoors.
Less than half a second, and you just see them both. It's so fun watching these 450 shooting the big roost in every corner. Again, track's loamy and great condition. Lots of line choices.
This is where Sexton got passed by Anderson. He's going to try to use the outside to repass him. Not quite enough there.
Yeah, Sexton used that outside line this time, carried more speed and used it to an advantage as opposed to earlier. He actually got
right
past there. Look at this.
Okay, so now they've got to deal with lap traffic and each other at the same time. Going to turn right and go uphill. Who's going to hang off the back through these rollers?
The preferred line there's very inside, obviously, so Sexton wasn't able to go on a different option there because he would have lost too much time. But right now, coming down these hills, full of the ruts, there's a couple more options coming up for these the riders as they head back up. One more set of hill into the rollers.
Oh, this could be it right here. Sexton, a great drive uphill. He's on the outside. Anderson's going to block it. Great job by Anderson to fend him off. Sexton has a different line again downhill. Not close enough.
Full defensive mode right there from Anderson. Good job on holding it off because that was a pass that was almost pulled off.
Well, the problem is they're lapping Hartranft there on the Twisted T Progressive Suzuki. I'm not sure that he knew he was being lapped or if he was in a position battle. He did not make it easy on Anderson. Oh, Anderson is in a hustle right now.
He is. He's right now realizing this is, look, I got just over a lap to go. I've got to just do everything I can to put my fastest lap in.
All right, here's a new section of the racetrack. Rollers and then this elevator jump. Only a few turns left for Sexton to make something happen. And he does. Gets to the inside. Nice line there through that corner.
Oh, this is incredible. This
is what we want right down the wire.
30 minutes plus 2 laps, and we've got a bike length and few corners left.
They almost collided through that old half-pipe section.
Yep.
Now the old finish line. They have a wall jump, mechanics area, finish line, side by side. Is there anything left in it? Checker flag inside. Sexton makes a run. Anderson holds on by 0.3 of a second.
Oh my gosh, what a race. And look what they did to Rock. I mean, they put a gap. That's such an incredible run. They were just picking up the pace, and Roxon, I mean, 27 seconds behind. Just within 3 laps ago, it seemed like he was 21 or 22 seconds behind. So those guys just incredible last laps.
And listen to that crowd. They absolutely loved it. They were treated to a barn burner. Roxon is going to take 3rd place points here. He rode well, but those two, Anderson and Sexton, were on another level. There is Tomac, about 2 seconds behind Roxon. He will finish 4th. Listen to the crowd.
It just, you can, everybody, right now, if you went away and never saw another good race, you just saw 2 great ones. You had Michael Moseman win the first 250 race, and then you just saw this battle right to the finish line right there. Boy, that's setting up for a good one in the second moto.
Yeah, they left it all out there, but with the weather we have today, it's unseasonably cool. They're going to have plenty left to go and do it again in the second motos in a little over an hour. But Jason Anderson gets it done. He wants that ever-elusive overall win, and he took a huge step forward by winning the first half of the day.
I love this shot right here, seeing as they come over the finish line, just how taxing this sport is on your riders. I mean, you can see the mud in the now. This is real motocross right here.
Oh, he earned that one. Last moto win for Anderson was our first moto of the season back in 2020. We were racing at Loretta Lynn's Ranch in Tennessee, and the recovery already begins for Anderson. We'll have him up at the podium with Jason Thomas in just a few moments. Sexton, he wanted to keep the moto win streak alive. He gave it everything he had down to the flag. He ends up second. But Jason Anderson, we knew he would be better this weekend. He certainly was, taking the moto win. Welcome back to Hangtown, where this crowd has been treated to a fantastic battle. That's why we call it the Hangtown Classic. That was an instant classic there in Jason Anderson and Chase Sexton, Jason Waggett, and Brock Glover will take you through our Lucas Oil race recap. We thought Anderson would have the whole shot here on the inside of the green 21. just gets edged out by Sexton. And how about it, Brock? They were about that close at the finish, too.
They were, absolutely. And you saw Jason Anderson. Now I see what happened. He had a little bit of a kick going into the first corner and kind of had to shut off before he got back on the gas. Allowed Chase Sexton. But this here, Josh Gilbert from the United Kingdom came over and just bad, terrible crash on one of the steepest downhill.
Aaron Plessinger lost the back end. He was running 4th early in that race, so unfortunate for him. He would end up finishing in 9th. Okay, watch this. These guys are becoming friendly rivals. Ryan Dungey in his comeback got passed last week by Christian Craig. Craig does it to him again on the 28th. That will put Craig in 5th and Dungey in 6th. Ken Roczen, lap traffic. Ooh, boy. Just got held up there a little bit. Luckily able to keep it on 2 wheels. But here's the battle everyone wanted to see. Anderson catches Sexton and then is able to make the move here. Setting it up, as you said.
Yep, right here he comes in this corner right here. Chase is a little bit worried about the lap rider. Obviously they contact and go down. Allows Anderson to scoot up the inside, and once he's alongside of him, he's controlling the corner all the way down into a double left-hand corner, and he owns the corner. He's got the pass.
Thought it might have been over if he had taken 5 seconds down to 0, but Sexton came right back. Anderson stands him up in this corner. Sexton gets back underneath. This was such good stuff. Finish line's in sight here, Brock.
This was just, like you said, a Hangtown classic all over again. And we were all treated to it, not just the fans, you and I too. It's amazing.
I think the riders probably liked it too. We'll send it down to the podium. Jason Thomas has our Moto winner, Jason Anderson.
Jason Anderson, we know you've been chasing that elusive win. You're halfway there. Now my question for you is about halfway through, you're about 5 or 6 seconds back. Chase Sexton looked pretty comfortable up front, but you were able to reel that in. Were you a little bit worried, or was that the strategy the whole time?
No, not at all. I just want to get the whole shot and run away and make life easy on myself. But right now I'm still learning and trying to get better and better as these motos go on. And luckily I was able to put myself in a position with a good start. But yeah, for me, my goal is just to be relentless. Wherever that puts me, I'm just going to keep trying. And that time it was a win, but we'll see what it comes out next moto. But I just need to keep learning. I haven't done outdoors in a minute, so it's all kind of shake the cobwebs off. So let's go. Thanks to Kawasaki, Monster Energy, Alpine Star, Aero, Scott Goggles, and let's go.
All right, let's go and show you the results from this moto. Sexton ends up a close second. It was .39 at the finish line. Roczen third, just holding off Tomac. Craig, as you saw, won that battle with Dungey. Tony Carolla, the 9-time world champ, finishes up in 7th. Joey Savacci, in his return to racing from a torn ACL, finishes 11th, just ahead of Shane McElrath. There is 20 through 30, and the entire field there. Josh Gilbert at that big crash, he ends up 40th. Back to the box.
Chase Sexton, really strong moto. No, you had to be frustrated coming up second, but they're great start. I mean, that's a 1-1-2 to start the season. There's a lot of positives you can still take from it.
For sure. I mean, that was a really good moto besides for maybe 3 laps there. Whether it was lappers or me making a mistake, I just got sucked up by Jason, and he was riding really well. I knew he was going to be good at the end. He always is, and I was just trying to manage. Obviously, he got me, but I put a really good battle in at the end. I felt like I had some good speed still, and feeling good for that second moto. My fitness has been really good so far, so just trying to get to that fight and battle every moto.
All right, there it is. Sexton. Maybe we'll have a rematch coming up a little bit later.
He does look like he looks like he just did about a 5-minute qualifier.
That's right. He doesn't look too tired. Our upcoming schedule will be at Thunder Valley in Colorado next week. We'll have coverage on MAV TV and also NBC. High Point in Pennsylvania, Redbud, Michigan, Southwick in Massachusetts. And then the rest of July will be rounded up by Minnesota and Washougal, Washington. Then it's Unadilla, New York, Budds Creek, Ironman, and back to California for our finale September 3rd. Let's send it back to Jason Thomas on the podium.
Ken Roczen, third place, first moto. Good start. Lost the toe a little bit from the first 2. Were you kind of in conservation mode once they get out front, or just save a little bit for second moto, or were you kind of pushing the whole way?
No, I was trying to manage. I really struggled on the track a little bit, to be honest. I wasn't that comfortable. I had a couple of really sketchy moments early on, and I was just trying to find my flow. I think we all got a little bit screwed with lappers too, but I know Chase was going really well, and I was just trying to manage. At the same time, we want to win, but not at all costs. So I just tried to stay at least on the podium, and we want to be consistent the whole year. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I'm excited for the second moto. Maybe make some changes and try again really hard.
And that's what it's all about. Roczen just trying to be in it for the whole 24 motos. Steps third. That's all right, right?
Yeah, brutally. He's brutally truthful there. I mean, he's saying that you want to win, but not at all costs. And he's somebody who's had some pretty serious at all costs injuries.
That's right.
You know, he's very right. And you have to give it out to Anderson. I mean, you're talking about humbly confident.
Yes.
You know, that's the way I like to describe that, humbly confident. He's humble about it, but he also is very confident.
See if he can get it done in the second motos, and we'll have them. Next hour will be 250 Moto 2, and then an hour after that, our final 450 Moto. See if Anderson can finally get this overall win that has been eluding him his whole career. And then our show Inside Pro Motocross will have some post-race analysis from right here at Hangtown. That'll be aired Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. on MAV TV. All right, so a great first half of the day in the books. Good 250 Moto. Congrats to Michael Mosiman, and a classic between Anderson and Sexton. That was so good, Brock.
Absolutely. It was just fantastic. And you know what? With these motos starting on the top of each hour, I can even figure this one out.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more great racing coming your way, so stay with us here on MAV TV. For Brock Glover and Jason Thomas, I'm Jason Wygant. We send shout out to our moto winner, Jason Anderson.